Hello, everybody. How are you? We ready to stand up? Get some blood flowing? It's been a little bit. So I come and hail from the San Francisco area, but fortunate enough to come to Sacramento quite often. And obviously, we're the hat of a vendor in the room, so yes, I'm that lady. But it's really about the transformation that agencies and departments are able to leverage and just hit the pedal to the metal, if you will, and get going on all of the change, especially the report that's come out with Little Hoovers. It's exactly the alignment that we are kind of in bed with, if you will. We'll go that way. So, how many people in this room, just in a personal perspective, have ever signed a document with DocuSign? Mortgage, refi, account. Pretty darn cool, right? That's how I got hooked and why I'm at the company, because I signed a document with DocuSign and I was like, that's the future. The problem still exists, as we know, in government, right? It's exactly what 18F is doing to kind of create transparency, efficiency, and everything that's going on. And so this is something that's going to look incredibly familiar to everyone in the room, is the problem, right? You've got the agency, you have all of these individuals that they have to work with, they've got internal constituents that they need to serve, employees, suppliers, you name it. And we have a ton of systems and we have a lot of paper, right? Paper is everywhere. It's the inevitable. We get paper cuts, it takes a while to process, it's brutal. And so this is a constant problem. And going back to the story about wanting to go to the DMV and just have it to be a very easy, painless process, or submitting documentation to the government, why does it have to be so hard? It doesn't have to be, right? So we're all on the same page there, and obviously this is kind of the wave of the future, and plugging in DocuSign is the way to go. However, there are a lot of other vendors that are providers as well. So the better way is, obviously, leveraging what we term, and is now the trend term, it's called digital transaction management, right? DTM is an acronym that's now being leveraged in the field today. And it's all about just creating that streamline, right? You have all these amazing homegrown systems, but there's that need to print. Let's not do that anymore, and let's just have these pipes that these guys are laying down flow through to one another with APIs and all of that fun stuff. So the great thing about that as well is that you talk about trust. I think there's a level of potential distrust, again, that was mentioned, and a benefit of DocuSign is it's something like we see in the room that everybody's already trusting and using in our personal lives, and just making that easy transition and working with government agencies in order to create that same efficiency across the board. So we have choice, trust, and experience. It's a really cool experience. My biggest, we can talk about this, but I think what's most important is where it's being used today and which groups have already gotten on board and the impact that they're seeing and why. So here within the agencies in California, and obviously we've got accounts everywhere, but is really within the Health and Human Services umbrella. They're very forward thinking. They're able to kind of move forward on a lot of the solutions that they're looking for, DGS, MTC, and then we work with a ton of counties, so County of Alameda, where did Oakland go? So over in that area, and then also cities as well. So Palo Alto, we've got some use cases to talk through that. One thing I'll mention, I know that some individuals here have a hat potentially around Senate bills or Assembly bills or in that session. I have a great use case that's over at the table for later that talks to state of Nevada, not California, but what state of Nevada has done as far as a Senate bill that they got approved around mandating that every single constituent-facing form has to be electronic by June of 2015. So people are trying to figure out how and why, but that's an example of kind of forcing the hand for transition. So here I wanted to bring in some examples of what we're doing with CDPH. They essentially are using us for their nurse attestation form. That process took forever before, and now it's completely automated, completely digital, and so they're seeing the results of that. We have CCC, Rita Gass over in that group over there. They are leveraging us for basically a ton of different documentation. And the biggest thing for her was the startup cost, right? She didn't have to go through an entire document management system in order to do that. And it's really about transparency and change and efficiency. One thing that's been key is you have all of this stuff, this technology, it's amazing, it's great, but then there are all these procedures that say, oh, but we still need wet signature, right? So there's just this conflict. And so we are hoping that there can be a collaboration where there can be an opportunity where they can all kind of start speaking the same language, which is going to be very exciting. And then City of Palo Alto. These guys, when I think about the procurement group, they had basically their contracts that were typically taking 4 months to get done are now getting done in days. And so it's exciting to deal with paperwork, which is just an oxymoron, right? Those two don't go hand in hand. So I today have Ken Moyle with me as well. He is the board member of ESRA, which is the Electronic Signatures Act, those guys, and also our Chief Policy Officer. So we're here if you guys have any questions on what you're doing. And that's it. Thank you very much. Hopefully that was fast.